What's going on, everybody? We are back for another episode of the ABJ Pod. Oh, look at my mug is in the shot. I'm breaking the illusion that these are all done in different days. I didn't just change my shirt from episode 106. We are here, episode 107 with Mr. James. Full disclosure, these episodes are all being recorded in the month of October of 2023. So by the time you see these, it'll be later on into possibly the year 2024, but stockpiling some episodes, life changes happen. So I'm just kind of get this content out there. So if you guys see this, I'm in a rebuilding process, and hopefully when you see me at the beginning of this summer, it'll be a whole new vibe for the show. Maybe maybe in person, maybe a lot of cool things, but you can help that journey along the way by supporting on Patreon. All episodes come out a week early before you guys get to see them on Thursday on YouTube for free. You can be as little as $1 or any price you want. Also, merchandise. I am on Pro Wrestling Tees, Brainbusters, and I have my own 2 merch pages. So Teespring has a lot more clothing options. TeePublic has all the logo options. So there's over 200 different ABJ logos on TeePublic. Hit them up. Huge thank you to Logos by Hunter, Witchcraft by Lily, and Haley Stokes, and many others for all these amazing logos and fun spoofs that you get to see. Show those supports of the people also in my link tree. So if you want to look for your own logos or music for the podcast, the Converse Kid Billy Trey is your go-to person. Also, check out the links below for my guest, Mr. James's link trees in there. So all things for his social media merch pages as well will be there. Please go and follow him on social media and put in the comments, hey, just heard your podcast on ABJ. I really enjoyed it. Or ABJ sucks, never do his show ever again. Whatever works, do it. Also, if you're listening to this on the audio side of platforms, a 5-star review goes a long way, as well as if you're listening, take a screenshot on your phone, post it, and say, hey, just seen the episode. Here's what I thought of it, and they're always great. I will respond. You can also use hashtag I love ABJ. And then if you're on the YouTube side, like and subscribe. So we'll get to that goal. I don't know if by the time you see this, hopefully I've hit 1,000. If not, hit the subscribe so we get there. Without further ado, all the housekeeping and e-bagging and all that fun stuff out of the way. Let's get into our guest. This is someone I've met way back in the day, early in my career, from being a podcaster, then being welcomed into a company. But I seen him first as a fan in the crowd before I got to go backstage and do interviews and hang out and help out with the shows. Mr. James at the time was a little bit of a different character, but still killing the game. Then he went away for a while and he went to Japan and he was killing it, and then came back with some new gear, some new gimmicks. He was doing a tag team with one of the most heinous guys in professional wrestling, but at the time he wasn't a bad guy. They were doing some fun things, and now he's evolved into what we now know as Mr. James. I've never gotten a sticker, but I have been told I'm a good noodle plenty of times, which is always good. So let's bring in the one, the only, Mr. James.
Hi guys, Mr. James here, your favorite teacher and the gatekeeper of the Good Noodle Stars. ABJ, I gotta ask you in front of your listeners, are you a good noodle?
I try to be. Sometimes not, but listen, anytime I'm around Mr. James, you got to put on the fake persona because, you got to impress the teacher. You know what I mean?
But I gotta say, at the end of the day, all you can do is try.
That's right. That's right. So thank you so much for doing this. I'm super excited to chat it up with you. And it's been a long time since we got to do that. You've been working, man. I don't get to see as much at a lot of promotions that we have been working in the past, but you're up in that New York scene and traveling all over the place and,
Yes.
Changing up the game and having fun while doing it.
Yes. And I gotta say, it's one of the most craziest experience I ever had. And being me, that's who I was before, and now being the happy-go-lucky, still serious Mr. James, it's kind of like overwhelming to see how much people can gravitate towards this new character that I'm doing.
Yeah, so that's the thing too, is I think a lot of people in the business, everybody wants to be the tough guy. Everybody wants to be taken seriously. Everybody wants to do that. But there is a market for, not being more a little lighthearted and having fun while doing it, like probably the biggest merch seller in professional wrestling now is Orange Cassidy. And you know what I mean? But if you're talented enough to perform in the ring and also talented enough to get over a very popular character and not take yourself so seriously, there's money to be made there. But you have to be talented to do it. And I think you have the ability to do so.
I appreciate that. And I think Chris Jericho said it the best. It's okay to have a little ha-ha in the beginning, but at the end of the day, you still want to win the match. At some point, you have to take it seriously. Every teacher has a boiling point.
Yeah. Up in the New York scene, she's killing it, and she's the same way. She can kill you with her smile. Her smile is contagious. She's absolutely stunning. But if all those straps come down, Willow Nightingale will punch your face off. You know what I mean?
Oh yes.
So let's kind of rewind it here. Let people know, who you are. I know we kind of said Mr. James there, the good teacher, but independent wrestler. When did you get into this field, and how did you find your school, and where did you train out of?
So believe it or not, a lot of people always ask me where I started, and I always tell them it's gonna sound funny. I just finished college. I still try to figure out what I want to do with my life. And as I was coming home one day, coming off the train, I stumbled across a flyer, and that flyer said BWF. Like literally, it was 6 blocks from the train I got off of. So what I did was I took a chance, went to this big meathead gym right by Daryl's Extreme Fitness, few blocks from the train station, like I said. And the first person I saw there, the first person I met was this big brolic man named Bronco International. He could not speak a lick of English, and me could not speak a lick of Spanish. And that man taught me body language. And who I see the next day that took me under his wing for a little while was no one other than a former tag team EYFBO, Mike Drastic, aka Santana, and Angel Ortiz, who's now known as Ortiz.
That's some good company right there. They're very, very talented, very, very good in the business. So immediately you hook up with what we now know as former. They were former tag team champions, right? In AEW, did they win the titles there? Or they never got them.
No,
they didn't. That is right. They were Impact champions though.
They were Impact champions, correct.
Yeah. Much respect for them. Love them to death. Love their time with the Jericho, the Jericho teams. But So from there, what was that training like? Was it everything you expected to be? Were you always a wrestling fan? Did you have an idea what you were kind of getting into? Were you always athletic? Like how did those first couple training sessions go for you?
Those first couple of training sessions was pretty intense. So before joining Hog, I've got a lot of knowledge from those two, and they were hard on me more than ever because they wanted to show as an example from Bronx guys. And I had to represent them. They put me through vigorous training, drills, and everything like that, whooping my ass because I was that new guy that wanted to learn from them. And they just at first I thought it was liberties, but then after a while it was toughening me up. So I came in at 280 pounds, like somebody who would be a center in a football. Never the guy that
really. I can't even imagine you that big.
Yes. So from then on, I wanted to do more. I pushed myself, threw up, came back, pushed myself continuously, and I've been a wrestling fan since I was a kid. I remember the first thing I ever seen, I can never forget, was Mick Foley, aka Mankind, getting thrown off a cell. As I was flipping through channels, I believe it was around at least 9:20 around that time, and I just saw a grown man falling, and it was live, so no wires, no strings, and I was hooked.
Yeah. So now going in there, were you a student of the game? Like, did you know the independent scene? Did you know that you were walking into Santana Ortiz, or you were like, oh, these are just normal guys, and then all of a sudden you start seeing what they do on the scene? You're like, oh, they know what they're doing. Like this is a place to be.
That's how I started focusing more on independent wrestling the minute I started training, seeing people who's stepped in BWF. People, like I said, people like Santana, Ortiz. There are people like Jaka, Chris Dickinson who stopped by. BWF at the time was more of an open ring than a training school. So I was just lucky enough to be working with those guys before anything. And then once they started taking off, I barely saw them. So that's when I made the jump to House of Glory with a little bit of knowledge that I knew. Not so much in ring, but more of knowledge.
Now, House of Glory, for people who don't know, that's Amazing Red School. Also, tons of great trainers and people who have come out of there. What was it like then transitioning from that school to a school of House of Glory with Amazing Red?
It was a surreal feeling. Seeing Amazing Red was mind-boggling, because he was so humble, so polite. He was very welcoming, but him in the ring was a sight to behold.
Yeah. One of the things that stands out to me, and I always say this, and I've been saying it for years, is I don't think there's anyone that I've met that have come out of the House of Glory school or have that represent House of Glory that I didn't like as a person. Not only is Amazing Red and that school making good professional wrestlers, they're making good people. The people who come out of there and wave that flag and have come out of that school, I've become close with all of you. It's almost like I've never been in that school. I've never set foot in that building. It's a promotion that if I ever did commentary for, if I ever went in to support or just be there, it would be a dream come true. Only because I've fell in love with all of you guys as talent working with you between PPW and Camp Leapfrog and High Tension, that it's just like I can't wait to finally be there. But what do you think makes that not just becoming a good wrestler, but learning like to be humble and to the way you conduct yourself? Is that a House of Glory thing, or is he just getting lucky finding all amazing people?
Well, that's the thing, because you want to be honest, it's more of how we're trained. Because no matter what, sometimes like let's use an example. Sometimes you don't know if you can get ever looked at, booked, or whatnot. And Red would never care about, not not care, but he would never care too much about why do you feel sorry for yourself. This man had a grind to be where he's at, and he always made us. Why should you feel sorry for yourself? Let your in-ring work do all the talking. Like, be humble, be polite, treat everything you do like Bruce Lee. Don't start the fight, but be the person to know that you can fight. So when we approach people, we don't want to be threatening or whatnot. Even as New Yorkers, we want to just be who we really are. And then once we step in the ring, I want to see more of that person instead of just talking about it.
Yeah, that, like I said, that makes so much sense, because you all you came in like a big carload, right? So at PPW there was a group of you that came in, sometimes 2 or 3 carloads, because you guys rolled in deep from House of Glory. But you were all younger students who, at the time, if I'm wrong by saying this, please correct me. Maybe there wasn't stuff for you to do on the main House of Glory shows yet, and you were kind of being out there, earning your way and finding who you are in the scene, but still representing your school. And then going to a place like PPW and then going back and showing Red, like, hey, look what we've accomplished here. Look what we can do. We're getting over, and it's not under your umbrella, but we're using your toolage. And now you look at the House of Glory roster, and most of that early PPW car rides and carfuls of people who have been there are now the big stars of House of Glory.
Yep, Monteguia, Charles Mason, Main Event. All those people are just like killing it right now. And one thing I'm very grateful for is that we always looked out for each other. When I was a mainstay at PPW and they needed more guys, they trusted my judgment to bring in more people, and the people that I brought in have shined throughout since then.
Yeah, and you were someone they leaned heavily on. You bounced back and forth between teams, and you were part of a tag team division for a while, and then you and Casey Navarro were tearing it up. And I believe there was some multi matches where it was you, Casey. I believe Amazing Red was in one, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't he in a multi man with you guys?
It was actually it was Deshaun Pratt and I believe Casey Navarro taking on Anthony Gangone versus Amazing Red. I think that's what it was. Yeah, that Red has done at PPW at the time.
Yeah, and I think he wrestled under a mask that show as well.
Yes.
Yeah, they were all great. Like, so there was opportunities where Amazing Red did come in, and then kind of seeing you guys forging that path and being, locker room leaders and doing that, which was cool to see. But like I said, you were
Amazing Red. Sorry to cut you off. That was the same show that Red saw me wrestle Juventud Guerrero and Sam Adams.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of. When you were Hoovy and Sam Adams, I love that dude to death too. That's another great guy in the business. But when you were there, you had a different character. Can you walk us through who that character was and how that character developed?
Oh yeah. So at the time, I was the man you can trust, Evander James. The man that was conniving, doing all the things, no matter what he can do to win. Once fans started like becoming on my side, I wanted to be that man they can trust, and that's when everything started changing. And PPW, like I said, gave me a lot of trustworthy matches. They had me against Tuco Scorpio, Juventud Guerrero. I even got a chance to win the PPW belt and lose it the same night against Bully Ray.
I hate that, by the way. Sorry, Bully. I'm just not a great fan.
No, because once that it was like a restart, and then it made me like from the bottom crawl way back up, and then that's when I took on Sean Carr and I beat him with the help of Teddy Long after Sean Carr cheated. And before I went to Japan, my last match at PPW before Japan was against Austin Aries.
Yeah, listen, well, not no Sean Carr defaming him. That guy's a hero, a legend. I would say he's one of the first people that I fell in love with when it came to independent wrestling. Like I seen him when he was doing his feud with Mike Orlando, and I was hooked. I was like,
Oh,
this guy's great. I love Sean Carr. But so yeah, so you're killing at PPW. You're under training of ROH. All that stuff is going. I feel like we're going so quick here. I feel like I'm in a match with you. You're all over the place. How did the Japan tour come about, and how did that set up? Did you have to make connections? How does one so if someone wants to be in a situation where they go and do a tour of Japan, what was your blueprint? How did you get it done?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm gonna be honest. And when people ask me this, they think I'm lying when I tell them this. I didn't want to do the tryout. So when we had a Japan tryout on my birthday, and there were 50, I would say 40 to 50 people that was there for the tryout, including Hawk students there as well, right? And they came, and I saw them. I was like, it was the same time we had the show. The show was at 8. The trial was at 2, and it was my birthday, mind you. So when they came, I was like, oh, okay, cool, they're here. I'm just gonna chill and wait till this is over. I'm chilling, getting ready. Brian XL, owner of House of Glory, comes up to me and says, yo, what you doing over here? Why aren't you over there? I said, bro, I don't want to do that. It's okay. Cause I thought it was like a lot of people. I'm not gonna get seen. In my head, I was like, oh, this is too much. So he's like, no, get your shoes on, go over there in that ring and do the tryout. And I legit do it like a kid that didn't want to do his homework. So I legit did the whole tryout with an attitude. And when I mean attitude, it was like I just want to like perfect it and just get it over with. So when I went in there, it was Sonny Ono and Kaz Hayashi. And when I went up there, I shook hands, gave my name. I was the first one to participate. When I went up there, they made us do drills. They made us do rolls and all this stuff. Every time I did it, perfect. He looked at me and Kaz shook his head, and Sonny Ono was whispering in him. I just looked at him and just said, thank you, rolled out. Quiet, wait for the next person. I had to then do a trial match, and I wrestled somebody named Rich Porayala, who's chilling it right now in Florida. We had to wrestle each other when they made a baby face take on a heel. Once you finish, you switch roles. Then after that match, I was like, okay, thank you guys. We'll call everybody. After everything was said and done, I was the first one chosen. First one chosen to go to Japan, and my jaw just dropped. Selected on my birthday. And the guy,
like I said, the people you're up against and the people you're working with and the people who are part of that roster, that's an accomplishment because you work with some very talented people.
I'm very grateful, and I'm still starstruck by it because I respectfully, when there's a trial and there's a lot of people, sometimes that can like demean you and make you feel like I may not have what it takes to be that. And that's why I didn't like try to step in. But seeing how Brian XL legit dragged me to do that trial, and I just impressed him doing it, even with an attitude, I was able to complete it.
So walk us through. You're on the plane. It's long as hell. It's what, like 14, 15-hour flight?
It's a good 22 hours to China and 2 hours to Japan.
Oh,
yeah.
Yikes. The longest one I was just in London, which was out of control. I was just like in the 9 or 10 hour flight. That was a long day. Yeah. And then jet lag. I can't even imagine jet lag going even further. Some of my listeners and some of the people who support me and the brother and sister in this podcasting game, they live in Australia. And when he came from Australia and met me in London, he like went backwards a day and a half and then lost almost a day and a half, 2 days going home. Like I was like, that is crazy to think about.
Oh man, I mean it's crazy. When I got up there, that's when I met Trisha Adora.
So you were in Japan with Trisha Adora?
Trisha Adora was the only woman there, and I met Trevor Ayon, the gothic grappler.
Yeah, Trisha Adora. That's a bucket list interview. She is absolutely amazing and
just a fearless person. She's a sweetheart. She's one of the nicest people you will ever meet.
Yeah, she just recently lost her Pan American. I can never say it right. I think the Pan African Championship. She held it for almost 2 years or something. Or like it was a long time.
On 700 days.
Yeah, it was. I was there the night PWI made it a world title. Like they made the independent championship they recognize it now in PWI as a legit title, and they did that title, the independent world championship for IWTV, as well as her title, and they made them recognize world titles as they would any other like major promotion. So that was cool to see that, and then just recently seeing her kind of pass that torch was kind of a cool moment to see online. But she's incredibly talented. What was the culture like over there? Obviously different culture, different environment. It's got to be insane. What was that experience?
It was a very surreal experience, but honestly, it didn't feel too different from New York. It was just more quiet.
Really?
Because once you figure out the train systems in Japan, you could get around everywhere. And me and Rich Port Ayala were always traveling everywhere because we knew the train system already. We just figured it out. We started hanging out. We went to the New Japan World shop. We got to write our names on the little wall where everybody writes their names on. We got to meet everybody. Some people there speak a little bit of English as long as it's straight to the point. We went to 7-Eleven. We asked them how much. The person will tell us the price, and we'll just go there. We got to watch Juice and Liger in a New Japan show in Kurikan Hall, and finding directions was not too hard. I was like, "Excuse me." I showed him the paper. Do you know where? And he said, "Yes, upstairs." Oh, okay, cool. I felt like as long as it's to the point, it was very understandable for them to like understand us.
When it comes to obviously seeing a match in Kurikan Hall in general is unbelievable, but seeing Jushin Liger perform, is that the highlight of the trip, or what was for you? What was the moment of that trip where you're like, oh my god, we did this? Like you experienced the
wrestling in Kurikan Hall was the highlight of the trip.
Yeah, who did you work?
It was a tag team match with me and Rich Port Ayala, the guy I wrestled in the tryout. We took on the Pillars of Destiny.
Awesome. Well, so we're wrestling in front of a Japanese crowd rather than a New York crowd or an American crowd. What's the difference? What's the vibe like?
It was a learning experience. We knew that they were very respectful instead of just chanting randomly or saying anything or clapping. We learned more of their culture just by performing. Because we didn't have dual visas, they allowed us to do pre-show untaped. So it was before everybody showed up. So it was at least a good 25 people in that building before the main show started, before it got packed up. And when we were performing, we thought that no one cared what we were doing. And then once we had like I'll say double down, we're all on the floor. We hear people clapping, cheering. Within 25 people, they were all just behind us, and they just felt the energy we were giving them.
Yeah, the Japanese crowd, they're it's like a pin drop. They let the match speak. They don't talk. They're not on their phones. They're not playing around. They're focused in what's happening. But when you earn their respect or do something in the match that is exciting, then they applaud and they go back to silent again. It's a neat I just watched the GCW show. They just did 2 shows over there, and it's awesome seeing the little Japanese guy in the front wearing an MDK shirt, and he's chanting MDK motherfucker, and it's just so cool. Yeah, it was awesome.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
But you see, commentary is being picked up on the hard cam and roving cam because it's dead silent until something happens, and then they get into it. It's a wild. It's on my bucket list. Did you go to the steakhouse?
Unfortunately, we could not because our scheduling. We did go to steak houses, but we couldn't go to Ribeye.
Yeah, that's got to be that's as much of the Tokyo Dome and Kurikan Hall as that steakhouse. Yeah.
Want to hear a secret? Real quick? I was never supposed to wrestle in Japan.
Really?
No one was supposed to wrestle in Japan because
we just going over and train.
Yep, we were supposed to just go over the train, but because we were all like it was like 7 of us as Americans, we felt like the underdogs. So while instead of cutting each other's throat to see who's getting on top, we legit push each other, show them why Americans belong here. Even though we're different cultures, together we're all considered Americans to them. No matter where we are, no matter what different races we are, we're still Americans in Japan, in Japan land. So when we got there, we pushed each other. We did 1,000 squats, 200 push-ups. We had to do 15-minute laps. And then when we were getting tired, we motivated. We made sure we were there. We held each other accountable. So after the training matches in front of Sonny Ono and Kaz, he said, "Good job. You guys are gonna have a trial match in a gymnasium." Okay, cool. Like, it's an indie show, basketball court and all that. It was like, okay, cool. It's like a legit indie show. We did so good there. Cass, I actually said tomorrow, 7 a.m., Currican Hall. And we were like, huh? We would just set up, pay dues and watch? No, 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 no. Yes, set up, pay dues, bring gear. And I was like, there's no way. There ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way.
That's all. That shows you the work ethic, and probably a huge reason why they went to a place of House of Glory and picked a lot of those students because of how you guys conduct yourselves and the way you treat, like the way you handle it. It's awesome. That's super exciting. I'm super happy that happened for you. So then you come home, you're working there. Honestly, one of my favorite tag teams, the Trustees. They did very not long, didn't last very long, but it was special while it was there. But then you kind of shift gears a little bit and you switch to this Mr. James of what we know you now.
Yes.
What sparked the change? Why and what do you pull the ideas for this character from?
All right, so it happened when me and Charles Mason formed the Trustees. We are gonna have the biggest banger with main event, like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. But then that's when pandemic hit. So I would say that was around, let's say, December.
I want to give one guy his roses here, and maybe I don't know if you remember this. Do you know who gave you the name the Trustees?
No, we just went with it because it just rolled off the tongue.
I can tell you exactly where the name was pitched and to you guys, and you guys like, that's what we're taking. BP, Brian.
Yeah.
Brian's like, yo, because you're the man you can trust, and Charles Mason's the rich kid, and you're the trust, and it's a trustee because the money. He pitched that to you. So BP Burke, the backstage interview at PPW, pitched that idea to you guys, and you guys loved it and kept it.
I love that. I actually love that. Yeah. But the way the gatekeeper of the Good Noodle Stars, the happy-go-lucky favorite teacher came about was during the pandemic. Because a lot of people may not know this, but I'm a special needs teacher. So I work from K to 5 middle schoolers, and I was always like working with them, trying to do this, and doing on remote learning was a little difficult. Being with them in person is a little much more like easier than doing remote learning, and just working with them, talking to them, it kind of made me okay, made me find who I am, because it's all I had for the next 6 months. Just being like legit this. I thought wrestling was over. I thought the things might be done. And one day, it's gonna sound funny, I was home watching, relaxing, enjoying my day off, watching SpongeBob. When SpongeBob brought Patrick to the boarding school and they were in the same school, seeing SpongeBob lose his mind, getting a Good Noodle Star taken away, made me think, I wonder what would happen if I tried with my kids. I had a kid screaming, I don't want to do work. And then that's why I said, just like this, word for word, hey, Nathan, guess what, buddy? If you want to earn a Good Noodle Star, I tell you what, to make sure you do a good job in this session, I promise I'll make sure I give it to you. Can you do that for me, buddy? And he saw it. Which color you want? He was like, green. Awesome. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to put it right here. If you could do your work, you'll get another one. And he was like, yes. 3 hours, he was able to sit still. He was very calm, cool, collected. I had to award more stars because he was doing such a good job. And then once I was like, this works on children. I wonder if this could ever work on adults. Nah. Then I started plotting, started writing things down, thinking of ideas, watching Magic School Bus, watching a lot of teacher shows. I've been watching Matt Stryker to see how he worked as a heel, and to see how can I make a teacher work as a good guy, because not a lot of teachers are liked. So that's when I thought, why not be like a substitute teacher? Because most, like 9 times out of 10, they're the most loved ones because they're the most chill ones.
Yeah. The funny thing is too, is like a substitute teacher, when you first pitched this character, it wasn't well received. A lot of people were like, bro, you just came back from Japan. You are a top level guy who is referred to as like this mega star. Like, you're gonna be this guy that you can be taken seriously. You've earned the respect of your peers to be taken seriously and to be that next guy that you could put a world title on. And then you revert to a character where a lot of times in this business, when you go to a character like that, your world title pitch goes away because not a lot of characters get the bigger title picture. So like a lot of people seen it for a while as you were taking a step backwards. But I looked at it and I was like, it's different though. And that's why I liked about it. Like, you were everybody can be the tough guy. Everyone can be the heel, but you are kind of finding yourself of how can I win a crowd over and how can I do those one or two fun things that maybe I don't have to go and do a match that's going to tear my body apart, or I don't have to do a match where I have to break myself down. You're adding years to your career because you're keeping it simple and you're making the character do more work than the wrestling side of things. And I thought it was a good idea. And I defended it to everybody when people were like, I hate it. Like it, let's be real. Like it cost bookings in some places for you.
It kind of did. And I won't lie about that. And it was one thing that I will never forget. Amazing Red taught me. He said, no matter what you want to be in your career, your wrestling will always have your back. And because I was so confident in my abilities in the ring, I just felt stuck as the man you can trust. This kept getting repetitive. I liked it. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. It was a great gimmick, but I felt stuck. You know, I didn't know where I wanted to go after that. And then being Mr. James, I felt the possibilities were endless. I got to be Mr. James wrestling Matt Sydal, Fandango, like other names. And once having Matt Sydal tell me that he had an easy, relaxed match. And this is the best part. Matt Sydal, Richard Holiday, when I wrestled Matt Sydal, it was the funniest thing. He said, hey, brother, what do you want to do tonight? I said, I want to put a sticker on your forehead. He's like, okay, what do we do after that? No, that's it. You sure you won't do anything after that? I promise you, Matt, when we go out there, it will be fine. Just cut me off after, it will be good. We did a whole run sequence, athleticism, all that. Did a little quarter roll, little cutesy pose, and it was like, Mr. James. And while I'm in this pose, told you, all right, here's your sticker. And he was like, oh, you can look back at that match with PPW and you'll see the reactions I got as that with me, Action Andrade, and Matt Sydal. It was a very fun match. I got to wrestle Fandango in a triple threat with Montequilla, and the most over spot in that match is kind of funny, and I'm afraid to show my parents this, is that he gave me punches on this and started dancing, put a little good news store right on his crotch, boom, he sold it, and just exploded out the ring, and fans were losing their minds.
Yeah. It's fun. There's another guy two guys when I think of the House of Glory roster that like stood out in that aspect too, is and people didn't like it or didn't understand it, but it made him special, was Big Game Leroy. Like he's another one, like he came out and wrestled with a switch and people were like, I hate this. And it's just like, and this is before really Orange Cassidy of the world has, like, he was on the independent scene, but he wasn't being seen like that we see on the independent, like on the AEW light. So a lot of those characters were being missed. Bones, another one, like that look and that mask, and really good.
He's really good at technical wrestling. I give that man his credit. And Leroy Green had a lot of great following because this man was on World Star twice against Loki.
Yeah.
No, one was against this man. The other one was against Loki.
When you see people like that at your school who are doing something different and standing out for it, did that help you get confidence to say like, okay, Mr. James can work?
Yes, because because one thing I learned too from Red is that no one's gonna believe it unless you believe in it first. If you do something like not fully committed to it, why should they be like fully commit to it? And Leroy Green was a great example of that. Even though he even playing with a switch in wrestling, I gotta say the story, and I'm sorry Leroy for this, but the funniest match he's had was against Loki when they had a spot playing Switch on the big screen at House of Glory, right? But here's the thing. They were playing Street Fighter 5 on the Switch. Street Fighter 5 never came out for the Switch. So I was like, wait a minute.
I remember the one time he took a bump, and taking a bump is one thing, but taking a bump with a $400 system in your hand is another. The system hit the floor, and the Joy-Cons popped off, and I was like, I was more concerned for the safety of the Switch than I was for his safety. I was like, no,
like see when he gave it back.
Yeah, I told him, I'm like, bro, go buy like a Temu or a Wish.com version of a Switch. No one's gonna know. He's like, nope. This is
it's not real, like, brother. It gotta be authentic.
Yeah, so good. Another thing too is like the beginning of AEW was really fun, especially for me because I got to see a lot of you guys. You were being showcased in like skits on AEW and AEW Dark and Rampage, where it wasn't so much like a talent goes in there and works a thing. Like when Private Party was doing their thing and they were doing those skits in the backyard and they were wrestling the stuffed animal. There was a lot of House of Glory talent that were being showcased in those skits.
Yes. It was, and not only that, thanks to Private Party, he got most of the hot guys on AEW, and because they had such a good following on AEW, they gave House of Glory guys more of a world sturdy match. You had main event take on FTR. You had Matt Hardy and his crew taking on main event and Ken Broadway.
Yeah. It's super cool. A lot of people aren't aware. Probably Private Party came from that House of Glory school too. They're a very, very talented group of guys there. Super fun. Now, you guys had a little bit of rocky roads. If you don't want to dive into it, you don't have to. I understand it is a tough subject for you guys, but I think it defines a lot of you at House of Glory and shows you. You guys lost a brother in arms right after the pandemic, or I think it was before the pandemic, wasn't it?
It was November. Yeah, it was a week after I came back from Japan.
Yeah. I never met the man, but seeing how all of you reacted to him as a person just goes to show like how good of a human he was. And I'm not bringing it up to upset you or anything like that, but I think like
it's something that needs to be talked about and expressed, because Matt Travis was for everybody.
His name I never met the guy. I've seen a handful of his matches, right? But I think what makes him stand out to me, and the reason why people should know his name and know he was a person, is because he shaped a lot of yous, and you guys losing him brought some of yous closer together. It pulled some of you guys apart, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, it's good to have his name out there and for people to hear it and to go do their research and look him up. If you can say anything about Matt that people haven't heard, what kind of person was he, and how did he affect you as a professional wrestler?
Well, Matt Travis was the most gangster dude you ever meet. Matt Travis was always real, but never spiteful. He was not nice, but he was kind, and I would take that over anybody. He would look out for you and not make a big deal out of it. He would do things out of kindness of his heart. He would push everybody. He would drag us to go to Hog when we're tired. He would make sure, I don't want to go by myself. Come with us. Let's go over here. Let's go check it out. He would legit influence us to just always want to train, always want to give it our all and make us compete with each other for a spot, because we knew House of Glory was always crowded at times, but we would push each other to get our spot, move from the back to the front of the line. We came in House of Glory as Bronx guys that kind of showed red that, these guys are hungry. We came in hungry. We all came in. When we started, it was me, Matt Travis, and Montekia, Bronx guys starting together. Yeah.
I will say one of the things that the passing of him, I think, really did, and it's I don't want to say positive in a positive way as a negative, you know what I mean? But when he passed, that's when you guys went from being PPW superstars to then becoming House of Glory superstars. And that's when you and Mantequilla and Rembrandt, even maybe not so much on a House of Glory level, but then on a bigger level, other places, all of you, regardless of where you were, took yourselves to a different level. It sparked something in all of you. You can tell from someone who, being backstage with all of you and expressing that love and having that love come to me, a switch flipped in all of you. You became different performers, because it almost put in perspective that this can be taken away at any point in time. Mm-hmm. And you guys kicked it into a different gear.
It's funny too. It's a little heartbreaking to say this sometimes, and I don't want to make it sound like it's bragging or ever or at all, but the day Maddie passing, the same day, the same day of his passing was the same day we had Impact.
Yeah, the Impact show.
Saw us. I'm pretty sure when people saw us, when everyone came to shake our hands, everyone thought we were different. We thought we were snubbing people. Everyone thought we were high and mighty because we were hot guys, not knowing the truth of why we were serious, intense. They didn't want to talk to nobody, and for them to see us, they thought we were hot commodities because we gave them hog, but that was not the case. We just lost our friend literally 14 hours before coming here, and then
I wasn't aware of that. Yeah, that was
Casey after the match, and Casey broke down because Casey was part of our crew. We love Casey. May not be hard, but he was one of our boys, and Maddie will coach Casey Navarro.
Yeah, I love Casey so much. He's another one I got to get on here and have a conversation with. I got to have a cool experience with him. I'm probably repeating stories, so if you heard previous episodes, I don't care. These episodes aren't always for the people listening. It's for me talking to my guests. But when I went to London, I was invited to a Progress and Defy show, and I walked in and I was super late because I wasn't expecting to be allowed in for the Defy aspect. I thought I was only there for Progress. And they're like, no, come on in. You're on the list. Just come in. So I came in and I'm hanging out, and music hits and Nick Wayne is coming out. And then Casey Navarro comes out. And I'm like, yo, I'm literally in another country and I'm going to watch my boy wrestle in London. Like he had no idea I was there, but I felt so proud because like, he's another one. Like I watched him for such a long time. And then he's in his merch line and someone buys a shirt or an 8x10 off him and he's trying to figure out the currency. And I just like, stupid ass American can't figure out the currency. And he like hears my voice and he kind of looks and he goes, what the hell are you doing here? I'm like, I'm representing, baby. We're in London. Like, it was just like, he's another one, man. Like the matches with Osprey and the stuff he's doing at all those promotions. Like that kid works so goddamn hard.
And he's earned it.
Yeah. That night, the Impact night, All You's had a good showcasing too. Like I didn't realize that it was around that same time, but one of the things, like main event, they were given like 5 minutes to have a tag team match.
Yeah.
And I believe it was them and South Philly's Finest, if I'm not mistaken. Is that who they worked that night? They went a mile a minute and they literally put on what felt like a 30-minute banger in 8 minutes, and they worked their asses off that show. And I remember a lot of people in like, main event, because they cut the frills out and they just went in and worked. And it was like, I was like, holy, like they showed a whole new level of themselves. And like I said,
we were angry with that whole day. We were angry. We were ready to like just put everything on the line. No matter what match we had, we want our emotions to be in that ring. And then when it was all said and done, we kind of just sat in the car until the show was over. We didn't leave. We just sat in the car.
Yeah. I apologize for bringing that up. I
like it because, like I said, there's positive things about it, and if it wasn't for Matt Travis, some of us would not still be doing this,
Yeah, I know how much it hurts to lose someone who's really important to you. Like our local music scene had someone who passed away too early, but their ability and they're a voice that should be talked about as much as possible because of their influence on people, and that this person passing in our local music scene has shaped so many bands and the way people conduct themselves, and their names should be carried on and talked about as much as possible, even though it is sometimes difficult. But like I said, I feel like his passing sparked something in all of you, and you all became something different after that day.
Yes, we became like the guys to always make it. And I'm pretty sure if Maddie saw my gimmick right now, he would probably laugh and say it's stupid, but he said, I like it. Maddie would be the person to crap on something and say, yo, this is dumb. I like it.
Another person who I'd love to have a conversation with on this podcast, but the character is too important and he probably will never do it. But I mean, you went completely from one aspect and became Mr. James, and then someone you were tagging with turned into a American Psycho serial killer on the professional wrestling scene. Like I said, you guys all transformed. Like like it was crazy to see. So matches that you've had out there, who are some matches that really stand out for you in your career that you feel like elevated you to a different level?
In general.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, hands down, Wrestling Bully, right? I got to wrestle Too Cold Scorpio. That's like hands down one of my favorite matches. And I gotta say, doing a cosplay convention wrestling show is one of my highlights of my career. I got to wrestle Master Roshi, and I was a fan favorite of that convention.
Who did you wrestle, and who was maybe if you don't want to say who was in the other costume?
Oh no, yes, I don't mind saying it. One of my favorite matches was so mind you, we're pretty familiar who Master Roshi is. So yeah. I got to wrestle Shigo from Kim Possible, who was played by Cosmic.
Oh, she's another one. Boy, has she transferred her game. She is now at what Battlefield, right? Or Battle Club?
Battle Club.
Battle Club. I always confuse it because we have Battlefield out here too. So I always mix the two up. But that school, man, like there's a lot of great trainers, but the two that stand out for me just because I know them, I know them and I respect them. Prince Ahmed and Masha Slamovich, like so talented. And there's like that school, if I'm not mistaken, is kind of an amalgamation of some House of Glory people as well as some Johnny Rods people are kind of all there. And that's two schools. If people can go and become a super school, that's two places that's an all-star team.
Battle Club is very fun. Oh, sorry.
You're good.
Hang on. All right.
I still see and hear you. You're good.
So Battle Club is one of like hands-on fun place to be at as well. You got the owners of Hakeem. You have the person, the gift god works there now, Hoke.
That's nuts. It's like an all-star team. Like it kind of sprouted up out of nowhere, and then it grabbed a few people, and I think Cosmic and Rem. I mean, Rem's always been insane and so talented, but Cosmic was still in those early stages of trying to find who she is and find herself in the ring. And once she went there, it changed. She's a beast.
It's just funny because Cosmic is basically herself, and she's finding herself more just being herself.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's someone on the scene too. I think more people should know about.
Beyond funny at cosplay show. I got to be Master Roshi, and I had to call certain spots to make sure she was okay with, but she got mad because she's the one that recommended some of the spots. That was kind of bizarre.
Yeah. No, when you wrestle cosplay wise, do you guys have arguments putting matches together because you're like, yo, this character wouldn't lose in this situation?
It's more of a, this character could get me in trouble. Are you sure you're okay with this move? You said yes, this makes sense. I like it. Yes. Because she's one to lean into a lot of that, because she realizes as a female talent she's going to be looked at and objectified, but she takes it back by owning it herself, which I think is super cool about her character. Chigo was wrestling Master Roshi, so when I had to ask her about certain things,
yep,
so we had a nosebleed spot, and fans ate it up.
Yeah, so good, love it so much. That cosplay wrestling is a lot of fun. There's a lot of people on the scene. Like I guess Chris Slade does it a lot, but I don't want to say who he wrestles at because I don't want to blow his spot up. But he's very talented at it. Like it's a fun thing to see. Any other matches that stand out for you?
Like I said, Fandango, Bully Ray. I wrestled Montequilla. I wrestled against Dave the Clown and Murder Clown, 2/3 of Psycho Circus from AAA. Yeah. I teamed up with Wrecking Ball Legursky for that match.
That's sick. He's been doing some stuff at PPW. He's been there a lot now.
Yes, and I got to wrestle Loki as Detective James in House of Glory.
That's sick. Now, what are some matches that are on the scene that maybe you had in the past, but feel like you're a different person now that you would like to run back, or matches you've never had that are like your bucket list?
I wrestled Shane Strickland a couple of years back, and I feel like I would have a much more entertaining match with him as well. And one of the matches right now that's probably on my bucket list would be to wrestle Jordan Oliver one-on-one. I've helped him back in the days. He's come tremendously. I would never take credit. We were just two guys in an empty ring just training one day. But I would love to see how he's like progressed even more now.
That kid, for me, is he's someone he's on my radar heavily. Like I think that kid's gonna be special. Him and Griffin McCoy are just they're gonna be people they're gonna be the Wheeler Yutas and the Daniel Garcias we talk about in another 5 or 6 years.
Two young guys just killing it right now.
Yeah. Any other promotions out there? Like where are some places that you work currently actively, or places you have worked that people can go back and check footage and see you perform?
Oh, you can check out Mr. James or Ivana James on IWTV. I wrestle for Standalone, SSW, Star Shore Wrestling, Shore Star Wrestling. Sorry,
Shore Star. Yep.
We are wrestling as well as Invictus too, two major shows in here, as well as CCW in Florida.
Yep. Also had some appearances at Camp Leapfrog, so I always put over High Tension as well. You had some appearances there.
It was Camp Leapfrog. I'm sorry, but Camp Leapfrog was hands down one of the like most places I've enjoyed working. Especially
it was a special time.
Night. Oh my gosh, that was great.
You remember sitting in the pool till like 4 a.m, just bullshitting?
I was like, I know where we're going to pool. I want to go in the pool. So it was me and Jay Lion in the pool. It was such a great
you, Jay Lion, Ben, and
Ben Ruben is somebody who's come up in too. He's
Midas is in there with us.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was mostly hot guys.
Yeah, it was me and Hog Guys in the pool just chilling at 4, like 2 in the morning, just hanging out. Everyone's like, "Yo, be quiet." We're like, "All right, just floats." We're like, we don't want to get
Sleepover, the
kicked out.
sleepover was more fun. The sleepover was beyond fun. We
Yeah.
got to chill up late night watching RoboCop.
Yeah. What a special time in history. So besides professional wrestling, we'll get close to closing out here, but you're moving now. You're getting, things are shaping up for you. You're packing all your stuff up, but what are some things that you do outside of professional wrestling and your shoot job of what you do, like that's your release that you like to do? You said you're into anime and stuff like that, but
Oh,
are you a movie guy, video games? What do you do for release when you're not wrestling?
oh, I love reading. I love playing video games. Right now, I'm playing Mortal Kombat. I've been a Mortal Kombat head since I was a kid. Since unfortunately since the Super Nintendo before Blood, so I had the cheat code. But
Yeah. I suck at fighting games, but Mortal Kombat has my favorite characters in a fighting game.
it was that. I love cosplaying. I love conventions. I love dressing up. This year, I'm planning to go as Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender this year. I love things that just like help me escape. Like sometimes, like I couldn't go to Comic-Con this year, but I love, like I said, I love just like indulging in new shows, anime. When I travel, like getting to new things. Even just like trying to figure out new ideas, like TikTok ideas, just like recording. I'm just a guy that outside of wrestling, I love having a life outside of it, just exploring. Sometimes I'll get lost in New York just to see what's out there, to find new things, try new things.
So, as someone who I cannot get into anime for some reason, it's just not my thing. What anime would you recommend if you're gonna say, because I want to start doing it, right? So I now that I'm banking all these interviews and I'm doing this content, I want to start doing movie reviews and comic book reviews and just pop culture. I want to bring that aspect of my content back and not just do professional wrestling. And I want to start adding at least one or two different animes into my repertoire and maybe be like, all right, I finished season 1. I'm gonna stick through. There's one show that I started with, and you might not like this from being New York because this is like every New Yorker's show, and I hated it. Seinfeld. It was so goddamn boring. I hated it. I was like, I did 2 seasons. I'm like, I am not doing this anymore. I'm bored.
Funny, I grew on to Seinfeld. Like Seinfeld used to come on after The Simpsons in New York, so like it was just on after The Simpsons, and then
Yeah.
I was young, so I never got it. But I will say at 15, I started rewatching it. I really got into that show.
Yeah, I couldn't. I can't like that. Frasier and Friends, I think, are just boring shows.
it's because it's a show that you just get into because of the reality situations. Like me, I love The Office. The Office is hands down one of my funniest shows because it's corny. It's sometimes like Mr. James is corny, and that's okay because it's something that you could laugh with but not at. Like, ha, this is great. I love this. I want to see more of this instead of just laughing and ha ha. It's satire that you could see in the real world in certain situations. Like awkward situations is becoming more awkward is what I strive to be. And some of those shows make me enjoy like being who I am.
Yeah. So anime, what if you were gonna say like, all right, give me 2 or 3 anime that you feel I should check out, what would they be?
Like you want to like get on board right away, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, I'll say My Hero Academia.
Okay.
Chainsaw Man.
Okay.
And if you ever want to get into One Piece, I know it's long. I recommend a Netflix show for people who never seen One Piece.
Because okay, so watch the net. So there's a show that I watched that I never seen the anime, right? But I watched the Netflix movie, and everyone hated it, and everyone's like, "Don't waste your time. It was awful." And I watched it, and I liked it.
Please don't say Death Note.
Death Note. I liked the movie. Yo, William Dafoe, that demon looked cool. Like it was a cool looking demon. The premise of the movie, of the book, and everything like that. Like without ever seeing a second of that anime.
That's why I didn't like it. That's as anime.
That movie was good to me. But also, it's the same thing for me. Is I liked the Walking Dead books, and then the Walking Dead TV show. I hated it because
that's understandable because you're not gonna get an accurate dependency. You know what I'm saying? Like Harry Potter. You know, never was supposed to be a hero.
Yeah, so that's one where I might check that one out. The Death Note. I like the spookiness. I like the occult stuff. So I might try that one.
The reason why I say One Piece, the live action, because the live action will make you become a fan of the anime. The live action show gives really good homage to the anime. It's really spot on. One episode
Okay.
on Netflix, it will be like 10 episodes on anime.
All right. So here's what we'll do. If you're down, I know you're a busy man. It doesn't have to be right away.
Okay.
I will start watching One Piece, and we will do maybe like a season recap. And if you want to come on, you can come on my Not Cool in High School show, and we'll do like a recap of One Piece.
I like that. I like that.
All right. So then I'm going to force myself to watch it now, so we can make content.
You would have to. All right.
I have a few different wrestlers that we're going to be doing. Like, it's going to be people who I've interviewed, or people who maybe I can't get the interviews in right away, but maybe they're not so much want to talk about themselves, but we could talk about a movie or something. Okay. So there's going to be some people that I'm going to be doing episodes of like movie reviews with and stuff like that. So maybe you could be one of my anime liaisons.
I'm a huge cinematic fan, especially Loki's coming out. I'm a big fan of Loki as well.
Okay. Was that what, season 2?
Season 2 now.
Yeah. I if there's a show that I'm looking forward to the most when it comes to the Marvel side, I need She-Hulk back. I loved She-Hulk.
See, I really enjoyed She-Hulk. People complain why she's like that. Probably never read the comics, because
it was perfect.
She-Hulk is She-Hulk, and
it was perfect. And She-Hulk gave me the first glimpse of what the new Daredevil is going to be, and I am a Daredevil mark, so I need Daredevil in my life.
I mean, I bet you enjoy that Walk of Shame.
That was awesome. Listen, the girl who plays She-Hulk is absolutely stunning. And then when she's She-Hulk, it's like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I see why people are into this.
But that's just me. I just love so much of it. I'm just like a happy-go-lucky person, making sure I find things that give me peace.
Yeah. I love that, man. You said something else. Books. What do you recommend reading wise? Are you like self-help books? You like books that make you think about your mind, or
comics, self-help books, and mostly fiction for relaxing reasons. I've read the 48 Laws of Power. I've read the Subtle.
That is literally on my list. So I listened to an interview with Lindsay, and he said that every single professional wrestler should read the 48 law. Like Xavier said to him, you should read this. It'll change your mind state. And if you're in the wrestling business and you read that book and it doesn't change your perspective, you're in the wrong business.
It's why I was confident as Mr. James. It's why it's gonna work.
I'm audio booking this tonight. Like, that's happening. Yeah.
I've met people who won. I met adults who won stickers. I met wrestlers who like love the gimmick. When I wrestled on this show in for Stand Alone, I had Kalisto legit come to me and say that he liked what he saw out there. He loved the sticker thing. He's never seen him before.
Yeah. I'm so sorry I forgot this guy's name. So good. You wrestled him at Shore Star. It was one of my favorite matches I think I called. He's one of Jay Lethal's students. He trained under Jay Lethal. He does the cell phone bit.
Oh, Too Hot Steve Scott.
Yes. That was the first time I've ever seen him wrestle, but everybody was like, yo, he's really, really good. He's really, really good. And I was like, okay.
That match.
Yo, he was doing stuff with one hand and a phone, like where he took a selfie and then took a roll up. I don't even know how it was done. I don't know how you guys did it.
Ironically, it's called the Schoolboy Driver, which I now call Class Dismissed, because when I hit the Class Dismissed, the bell will ring after.
Yeah, it's so good. Like that. Honestly, that might be one of my favorite matches I've seen with you in. I thought you two both had your characters, both had your gimmicks. You're both people who could be considered top guys of a company if you did the Kenny Omega thing where you take yourself super seriously and we're going to go out there and have this match. And you have the ability to be a Kenny Omega, but you turn yourselves back to have that character aspect of things. I think both you exhibited that you're two of the best wrestlers in the building, but you're doing something completely different, and it worked so well.
Because one thing I love, and my good friend Montekia even told me, that it's all about moments over moves.
And his moment, that the whole run he did with Casey with the mask, and then like his face being revealed, and then finally like it ripped off, and he's like, I don't care, and just like that was like a cinematic story. Like, it was so good. Like, I don't know,
that was Terminal 5. And one thing, if you listen carefully in that crowd, someone said, "We're not gonna snitch, Monte."
Yeah. So
like
good.
Spider-Man. That's like Spider-Man moment. We won't tell nobody.
Yeah, so good. Like I said, you guys are all on a new level. I love you all so much from that school, and I miss you all so much. When I get to see you, it's always a blast and a joy. Where can people find you? Where can people support you? Your links will be below, but just to put them out there for people.
Well, you can find me on TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram at Evander James, 2 S's, double underscore. And if you want to see your favorite teacher shop right here, you go to MrJamesBigCartel.com.
Who did that art?
I had it from CRT Designs.
It's a good art. I like it. It's very anime-esque and very superhero-y. I like it.
He just lived. He's like he came to my idea, and he just loved the visuals. And he got the thumbs up, the stickers, as you can see right here, closer. See, you got the stickers and thumbs up, everything matching everything correctly.
Jack, you're looking good in that photo too. You're just tearing it up.
Gotta keep believable, you know.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. James. Always a pleasure. I cannot wait. I'm literally tonight before I go to sleep, I'm gonna put on that anime and I'm gonna start it up. I do have to get up early.
Way, I want to let you know, no matter what, Anthony, to me, you're always gonna be a good noodle.
I love it. I need a good noodle sticker. Next time I see you, save me one. I'm putting it in the background. I'll see you. Hopefully, I get to see you soon, brother. Okay. I love you to death. Keep doing what you're doing. Everybody, please go support Mr. James. Follow him on all social media. Go buy t-shirts. He is a good noodle, and you could be one too if you support Mr. James. We'll see you next time on the ABJ Podcast. Here's some music by the Converse Kid, and we'll see you next time.
Bye for now, guys.